I lied. Or something, I don't know. If you haven't seen my previous video, don't worry about that. Anyways, I set out to discover just how far you can push Silksong without ever acquiring one of the most useful abilities, the Drifter's Cloak. Since it does not count as a game percentage point, I wanted to see if you could 100% Silksong without the float ability. And the answer I found was 99%. With a few asterisks I'll explain as the video goes on. Actually, I'll explain one of those asterisks right now. Technically, I got 100% and could even go on to get 101%. But for all intents and purposes, 99% is the theoretical limit. Important disclaimer, almost everything you see in this video was recorded in the October patch. But since then, as of this video's publication, Cream Sherry, the evil sorcerers they are, rolled out 2 more patches which removed several of the exploits I used in this video. Also spoilers though. But despite Team Strawberry's best efforts to stop me, I will still show you this route. Make your best guesses for what that 1% is, considering I never would have suspected it to be a problem. Enough lollygagging, let's start tracking game completion percentage. Recapping my Faydown without Drifter's Cloak video, I took a weird route mainly because I was not trying to go for 100% initially. I was just trying to see how far I could get progression-wise. I go through Hunter's March so I can get the flea here along the way to my first ability, Swift Step. I collect 5 fleas to travel with the caravan up to Greymoor and collect Flea Brew. As a reminder, the game tracks game completion through mostly abilities and tools Hornet obtains, so no bosses or areas are hard required. Continuing as per usual, I bind the Reaper's Crest and head up to the Citadel to find Clawline. Defeating Lace's sister, I unlock the parry skill and climb into the Citadel. I grab the white key so I can head down through Whitewood to get my next ability. My first obstacle. Here I need to use the Reaper's Crest to downwards pogo off of the upstream valve and use Flea Brew at just the right time to preserve enough of my momentum to reach the wall to be able to jump up. Finally, I have Clawline. Now I gather Delver's Drill. I also get the Memory Crystal, but that's not actually needed. I then grab Conch Cutter and head to the Memoriam. You're supposed to have double jumps here, but you can just pogo off the Sentinel. I perform a tricky conch pogo up and repeat the pogo tech with the help of a plant. Also, this is the second asterisk I mentioned in the beginning. Conch pogos and vault pogos, a tech I heavily used in this video, was patched out, hence the disclaimer. I lobotomize Hornet and take advantage of the Memory Crystal so I don't have to use conch pogos for this jump. At last, I acquire Vault Vessels for much better skip potential. Barely skipping up Mount Fae, I collect Faydown Cloak for a double jump. This series of jumps took me hours to complete, and I definitely didn't die stupidly after the first time I made it. In case you don't know, this is what the Faydown Cloak item looks like without getting drifters. Notice it still mentions flexible spines despite not getting them, and it also is missing the button prompt to float in the air as that is still a separate ability, so surprisingly, it works perfectly fine without Drifter's Cloak. The idea now is that Faydown Cloak and Vault Pogos should help me clear any upstreams the game expects you to ride up using the Drifter's Cloak ability. Otherwise, the stalling in the air the ability provides usually isn't a big game changer, it just makes life easier. Getting more game completion items, I now set out to see if Act 3 is possible, hence why, again, my routing is a little whimsical. As you might know, Act 3 is locked behind the Silken Soul quest, which is only available after you complete 10 required wishes and collect 17 quest points. 1 point per quest, and a half a point for deliveries, though I don't do any deliveries in this run, so you can just consider it 17 additional quests. My next challenge was Putrid Ducks, as this platforming is a lot harder without a consistent free air stall.
Are you being intentionally dense?
Huh?
But with enough persistence, it is more than doable. For some reason, I was struggling with the timing here to break free from the barnacles. Too late and I get eaten, but too early and I fall into the spikes below. I was also still trying to get used to timing my abilities mid-air, as I need to chain double jump, harpoon, and dash back to back so I can make the horizontal distance without the float ability. If you're not aware, Silksong barely uses any input buffering, so timing is key. But not too long later, I completed the parkour and rescued the lost flea, Vogue. I discovered the Pale Lake needed for Fleetopia and carried on. Also, game completion only goes up when you fully complete a spool or a mask. So, divide these fragments by 2 or 4 respectively, and round down to see how much they contribute to the total. I use my first pale oil to upgrade my needle, and I head over to Chakra, as in order to activate her required quest, Trail's End, I need to buy all 14 maps from her, which as you can imagine, is a bit pricey. Defeating Throbio, I earn another tool in the Sacred Cylinder to learn 1/3 of the threefold melody. Progressing the Act 2 story, I deal with difficult parkour, as having no float makes it much more annoying. A simple mistake drops you several jumps. With the second third of the melody learned, I descend the Cogwork core with Reaper's Crest downward attacks to stall my fall. This Citadel flea is fun to get. This is actually how I got this flea my first time playing Silksong. If you've played before, you'll know my next challenge is high halls due to the tight platforming that they expect you to have Drifter's Cloak for. Here, I have to time my pogos so I don't bump into the ceiling nor the spikes. This next section is even more precise. Getting the cylinder for some moolah, I leave this cursed place and unlock the shortcut so I don't ever have to return. Also, while I'm here, I disable these annoying silk eaters by destroying their loot. Some of you may have keenly noticed a significant drop in my skill since my previous videos. First off, shut up. Secondly, I normally play on my home computer, but I am abducted for considerable lengths of time to an undisclosed location with only my $2 laptop. So if I want to render this video and even just play Silksong, I have to use a remote desktop, where my home PC streams its screen to my laptop, and then my laptop can control my PC remotely. While usually seamless, it is subject to internet connection, and in this undisclosed location, the Wi-Fi is sometimes absolute dog water. Hence why I will randomly start running into a wall or mess up basic inputs. The best part is that I think my laptop is also contributing to the dog water problem, because sometimes I can see my screen perfectly fine, but I just can't make any new inputs, so I just have to stare at Hornet running into death while I just can't do anything to intervene. But I won't tell you which clips are me playing normally or through an internet connection, so you'll have to cleverly analyze them yourself. Wait, where was I? Right, High Hall's gone. Unlocking the last segment of the threefold melody, it's Silksonging time, and I Silksong all over the elevator. Defeating Lace 2 is also a requirement for Silken Soul. I also need to move the Fleet Caravan to the Pale Lake, which requires defeating the last judge first. more fleece saving later, I make the courier's rash delivery with time to spare as my first ingredient. I collect more ingredients for the Grand Feast quest. Grabbing some random chakra maps I missed since they're only available if you find her room in that area. I am making good progress with a quarter of the game completed. This airstream in Hunter's March is completely optional with Faydown Cloak unlocked. Ah, but this airstream. It too is optional, but I'll come back for it later. With Chakra's quest started, Bilewater wasn't too bad as far as Bilewater goes.
There was a misinput!
I skip Roll the Great with Volt Pogos. How dare Team Grapevine patch out every way to skip Roll. This lets me get an item I'll need much later, easily. Getting the two important things here, I move the fleas to the Grand Gate and wait for them to be ready to move to Fleetopia, as you only need 21 fleas for them to make the final move. Finally using those moss berries, I gain another dish ingredient and a tool. I also get the Bellholm key, another Silken Soul requirement. I definitely grab everything in Whiteward and totally don't forget an item I'll have to come back for later. Here's some fun unraveled cheese. With that Ascendance grip tool I've been using, you can stick to the wall right here and be completely safe from this guy's attacks except when he charges from the other side. Never underestimate his janky hitbox. With that, I earned my last silk heart. More donations. Rest in peace, my rosaries. This Citadel section was fun without the float ability. There wasn't too much to mention about it. I just had to possess functional reaction time. I only need 2 simple keys throughout this run, as saving the Green Prince and opening this Deep Docks door are both completely optional. Also, to clarify, this inventory display shows the total number of craft metal, pale oil, memory lockets, and simple keys, regardless if I use those resources up. I use my simple key here to get to the left side of Wormways. Now I get the crusty nut and head closer to Sinner's Road to get Craig's Aged Nectar. I then grab long tools and shell wood and start grinding organs to finish off the 2 feast quests. Alas, Silken Soul is still locked out, as one of the requirements is the Flexile Spines quest, where you are rewarded with the Drifter's Cloak. At this point, I thought Act 3 was impossible, so I took on some interesting challenges in the meanwhile. Firstly, I returned to the Savage Beastfly in an attempt to Volt Pogo up the wall here. I was also using my cocoon to help boost me up higher. Eventually I made it, but I knew the inside used a lot of airstreams. This first one though is skippable. Crossing the thorn pit, I encounter another airstream, but this second one is much more difficult. And I had no idea if it was possible, so like a good pilot, I winged it. Surprisingly, I made it up the thorn channel on my second try. I was really getting good at this game. Unsurprisingly, after said impossible parkour, I died stupidly. Why must I be like this? Finally, I replicate the Bolt Pogos. While it is not required, Long Nail helps bounce you higher up from this bouncy thing, but the two Bolt Pogos that follow aren't necessarily that precise in terms of gaining vertical height. The trick I discovered is to throw the Bolt Vessels just after you activate your double jump and move away from the wall so you can line up the Delver's Drill. This section, however, is a bit more difficult to the narrow channel, but it is certainly possible when you are in the right spot. It really is incredible how I can nearly first try something once and then spend 5 times longer trying to replicate it a second time. Unfortunately, I died again. Just kidding. Or did I? After that amazing run back, I can shorten it with this lever, but I still have someone. Then my input started lagging, and I was terrified. Thankfully, I was still able to pause to wait it out. The input lag comes in waves, I don't know why. But at one hit away, I barely snuck in a heal and recuperated. Kind of. I was playing really poorly against Savage Beastfly, and I did not want to redo the Vault Pogo parkour again. But after some close calls and a scuffed fight, I defeated Savage Beastfly first try. So the Beast Crest in Act 2 is certainly possible. Cause yeah, Silksong would have made this a lot easier. I grabbed Needle Strike so I can use the Beast Crest momentum storage glitch, but it honestly isn't very helpful as it's very difficult to chain it with Bolt Pogos. It gets cancelled when you harpoon, and it only provides a minimal amount of height. I then work on some mass shards and bar fields. This one is very easy. This gauntlet room has a mask shard up above, which theoretically you could get without ever activating the explosive stone that traps you in. But the walls here are difficult to bounce Bolt Vessels off of. Fun fact, there is a little piece of wall you can cling to here, which does help. But since I ran out of tools and was trapped, I finished the lava gauntlet and tried to see if my cocoon is helpful. It is somewhat useful, but I never got it to work. I decided to put that off and go get some other tools and game completion. I went down to Weave Nest Atla and evolved the Hunter's Crest, which does not contribute to game completion. I also grabbed the snare setter here. Even though it's a tool, it gets used up later for the story, so it does not count as a game completion item. I also venture into the right side of Deep Docks to grab more tools, a spool fragment, and craft metal, as well as rescue a lost fleet. The Farfield's flea route is also difficult without drifters. Going back to the 12th Architect, I buy the Architect's key to bind the Architect's crest, so now I can use 3 tools. Combined with repairing tools on the go, this crest setup has so much skip potential. Returning to my cocoon, I found the enemies naturally spawn now, which actually will help me. I can pogo off of them or damage boost for greater height. But in case I accidentally kill them, I can just respawn them with a level transition. Much easier than dying. I ended up taking advantage of my memory crystal and using the drill to pogo up. I also switched to Reaper's Crest because that is better for pogoing. Fun fact, Delver's drill off of memory crystals still works even on current patch. But nothing else, including Snare Setter, works. I'll never forgive Team Raspberry for this. Onto the flea, we have to take the high ground as the intended route below uses upstreams. I can then bait the ant to jump up, allowing for a pogo to the next platform. Alternatively, a volt pogo works as well. Same thing with this flying guy. We can pogo a parry off of the enemy to reach the next section, or just volt pogo. Then this thorn platforming is tricky without a float ability. But with decent timing, you can reach this section where yet again another upstream blocks our path. This time, no enemies can help. I decided to test the geometry here by throwing some bolt vessels in different locations and seeing where they land. It's quite inconsistent, but I eventually found a throw that allows for an easy pogo upwards. By the way, if I fall down here, I'm stuck. It's also where my cocoon spawns, so my previous deaths were unrecoverable. This section scared me, but I quickly realized a simple harpoon into a double jump is all you need. One more flea down. You can also skip into the Far Fields Act 3 area early by using a clever conch cutter into a blind volt pogo. This whole section in Act 3 is completely doable without Drifter's Cloak nor Silksong, which is pretty cool, but ultimately useless. You can access the mask shard given by the Sprint Master, but you can never complete the final mask because 2 of the masked shards in Act 3 are locked behind Act 3 exclusive quests. Here I reset my save file back to the Architect's Crest. Honestly, I don't remember why. The point though is that I eventually gave up and finished the Flexile Spines quest to get the Drifter's Cloak. Yeah, no, I'm kidding. If you've seen my other video, you'll know that there is a way to get to Act 3 without Drifter's Cloak. By abusing pause menu storage, you can control Hornet and the save and quit menu at the same time. This lets me complete the Flexile Spines quest, but exit the game before Hornet obtains the Drifter's Cloak. Strangely, Hornet wakes up next to an unpurchased bench that I know I had to have bought, but I didn't think much of it at the time. Just like that though, I had completed the Flexile Spines quest, but I still don't have Drifter's Cloak. Fun fact, this actually locks you out of ever getting Drifter's Cloak this run, so this route is truly without it. It's about time I talk about 2 more of those asterisks I mentioned in the beginning of the video. Firstly, pause menu storage is kind of a major game-breaking glitch, which is a type of glitch I have been trying to avoid. but it is the only way to my knowledge you can progress to Act 3 without drifters, so I say let it slide. Anyways, the next asterisk, pause menu storage, was also patched out by Team Cranberry recently, so this part of the run is even more invalid on current patch. But we're not done till I say we're done. By the way, 4th chorus only activates when you have Drifter's Cloak, which made me worried that the Savage Beastfly rematch quest would be impossible. However, thankfully, there is a clause that lets it simply happen if the game is in Act 3. With Silk and Soul completable, now we move on to the final act.
Alright then, let's get you out of here. No, I meant to use the physics tool. Okay, no, there's no controls eating that. We're just gonna run now. Oh, that's not so bad.
Wake the fuck up!
Waking up from Sherma's blessings, I first needed to tag team with Ada to take down the stinky belly eater. There I confirmed Savage Beastfly's quest worked and aimed to finish game completion since I figured I had encountered and beaten every challenge skipping Drifter's Cloak would bring. Regardless, I gathered this mask shard back in Farfields and wait, didn't I get this mask shard before? If you were paying attention, which I certainly wasn't, you would have also noticed that the Terminus shortcut that I had unlocked was relocked. For whatever reason, whenever I performed that pause menu storage glitch, it had also reset the entire Silksong world for my save file, which, to refresh your memory, includes every single clip here. This is the 5th asterisk I was talking about. Everything from breakable walls, to levers, to memory lockets, to mask shards had all been respawned throughout the world. The only exception were unique items like psalm cylinders, tools, fleas, vendor trades, and certain level transitions. Presumably because Silksong stores these values in a different manner than the environmental doors. Of course, this means that if mask shards and spool shards respawned, I could acquire more of them than I should have, which, if you recall, explains my first asterisk of getting past the limit of 99%. Such a major glitch as this kind of invalidates the run, and if I was smart, I would have just reset the run back to the architect to see if I could fix this glitch, but I didn't feel like it. Plus, there was always a chance that it wouldn't have fixed anything to begin with, and I could have lost 20 hours of progress. I also want to be clear that I never opened this save file with any mods, but I did open adjacent save files with mods, so maybe that somehow affected this save file. Maybe I also forgot to delete the mod files one time, though I'm pretty confident I never made that mistake. I should actually hire a mathematician to explain the odds of a map reset glitch occurring. Wait, I'm getting sidetracked. Instead, I will track any duplicates I acquired so that I can be sure to prove all unique game percentage items are possible, thereby proving 99% is possible. Anyways, resetting the save file back to Architect's Crest made me lose this Farfields mask as well as the Farfields fleet, which I definitely don't forget about that. I keep forgetting shortcuts I unlocked are gone, so I always have to go the long way. I get the magma bell to help reduce lava damage. I I know I'm grabbing duplicates here, but I do eventually start making an effort to avoid duplicates as best as I can, hence why my final percentage isn't at like 105. I make my way through the unopened deep docks to find the diving bell and descend into the abyss. But first, I should grab this memory locket here. Should be pretty easy. I still have no idea how you're supposed to dodge these guys without taking damage. But anyways, I open up the shortcut and grab some items along the way. I then talk to Ballo to help me out since I forgot to do that. Heading into the abyss, I navigate around these annoying abyssal enemies and head for my last ability. I also grab the only 2 other notable items here along the way since there's literally nothing else really worthwhile doing here. I guess they don't call it the Void for nothing. I could do some daunting parkour below, or I could just Volt Pogo up here to skip my way towards the Arcane Egg. God, I love Volt Pogos. This Void room was mildly annoying because of having no cloak to slow my fall, so in a reasonable sense of protest, I opted to try Volt Pogoing to skip the parkour, just for fun. See, I had thought that I was done with all upstream shenanigans, so I was mainly messing around with Volt Pogos, just seeing what I could do. Little did I know that I would be stuck here in the abyss for hours. Eventually, I did some cool parkour and acquired both the Silk Soar ability and the Far Sight to track game completion within the game. Since all you need to do here story-wise is update your objective by talking to Lace's astral projection, I wanted to see if skipping Silk Soar was actually possible. I was getting pretty comfortable with Volt Pogos and discovered that I could escape the bottom of the abyss just fine. This can also be done elsewhere in the abyss to escape surprisingly, as the Architect's Crest can let you refresh your tools mid-air, albeit you can only do this twice if you have fully maxed out spools. Unfortunately, the last section requires Silk Soar, and even trying to use Volt Pogos does not work as the lava is programmed to rise at the rate of Silk Soar's speed regardless of your movement. Even if you could disable the lava rising, the climb up is basically impossible. The Volt Vessels inconsistently bounce off the lava, so no Soarless runs. Wait, this video is about skipping Drifter's Cloak. Back to the main focus, I Silk Soar upwards, thinking I'm in the clear. After all, I do have Silk Soar, which allows for pretty much all the vertical height I could ask for. Even that Savage Beastfly route would have been partly trivialized with it. But I completely forgot that there is an Airstream section in the Abyss Escape. This would be my greatest challenge yet. Despite this, I was locked in and cleared the upstream section first try. But like a good salesman, there was more. And unfortunately, my luck ran out. I struggled to replicate my success. I experimented with conch cutters and cocoons, but they did not seem very helpful. Out of shell shards. Guess I gotta farm rosaries for charm bundles. Because I'm trapped here, I have to farm shell shards from these little abyss dwellers, which only give 7 shell shards with the shard pendant tool. Mind you, Vault Vessels alone cost a whopping 8 shell shards to construct a singular one. Delver's drills cost 4 per, and conch cutters cost 5 per. I reattempt the climb, this time utilizing a conch cutter. However, as you notice, it didn't cut down on the amount of Volt Pogos I had to do. Trying for a good spike pogo, I again made a mistake. A well-timed Volt Pogo lets me skip this section, but like a good politician, I was getting nowhere. So I immediately booted up a debug save file to plan my route and practice. Actually, I stubbornly waited after an hour of attempting it, shell grinding and all, in the real file. Regardless, the geometry here is unforgiving, particularly this little lip that hinders my jumps sometimes. I discovered I can pogo this spike hill and conch cutter into a double jump to line up a very high pogo. Here, I can then use just 2 vault pogos to make it. It seems precise, but you actually have a decent bit of wiggle room. For the next section, it seemed almost possible to use just spike pogos, which it technically is. A very precise spike pogo combined with a perfectly timed heel gets you just enough height to pogo the upper spikes. However, this is ridiculously precise though. I'm talking I could only replicate this jump twice out of 10 minutes of messing around with debugging. Thankfully, a significantly easier solution is just to use Delver's Drill since its hitbox is much more generous. Again, that's another vault vessel we can save. On to the next section. This is actually just possible with spike pogos. It is a little precise, especially since it's easy to bump into the spikes, but as I was getting used to the Architect's down pogo, it really isn't too bad to perform. The next part undoubtedly requires a vault pogo, though it is quite simple, and this last portion can just be performed with spike pogos. Back to the past where I was grinding unoptimal attempts. I have optimized the parkour to only cost 3 vault vessels, 1 conch cutter, and 5 Delver's drills, which considering how lengthy it is to grind shell shards, I needed an efficient route. See, the reason why I waited so long to practice in the debug file was because I have a very minor case of serious brain damage. In other words, my thought process was, surely I'll make it this time. I don't need to practice. I love gambling. Spamming the pause menu button as hard as I could, I was able to wait out the lag, but it was far too late. Is this really how I'm going to lose this attempt? All of that for nothing? I hate this Oh, never mind. I guess I respawn here now. Well, my cocoon's inaccessible now, but I don't care, dog. I'll take any amount of rosary farming over doing that parkour again. At last now I can finish collecting game percentage. Apart from some weirdness resulting from that map reset bug, there really isn't too much to talk about. That Abyss upstream basically is the last time the game ever uses upstreams, so there really isn't too much to worry about. Dealing with yet again more consequences of the save file bug, I had to go the long way for most areas. I started hunting down void masses for the Dark Hearts quest, which gets you a mask shard.
Peanut butter jelly the long way. Peanut butter. Jelly the
Testing out the Swiss Cheeseinator, I get another crest bound. Taking advantage of that extra oil, I finished my nail upgrades. Okay, I know I should have waited to get the real final oil, but I've been abused enough in this challenge thus far. I tackled the Crust King and definitely don't give up. This sea anemone was tricky at first, but it turns out the solution's just to hold right.
money, 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 money.
I love overdosing. Defeating the Crust King, I get the first heart needed for the Snail Shamans. And yes, the best part of Silksong. Writing rosaries because I'm broke AF. I need thousands upon thousands of rosaries to buy everything I need. And unfortunately, the best time to farm was in Act 2. As the void kills most farming spots and beefs up the enemies. But this shall do.
butter jelly the long way. Peanut butter jelly the long way. No. Wait.
I buy everything from the 12th architect and collect some random items.
Peanut butter jelly the long way.
I instinctively grabbed this tool pouch upgrade, only to realize I was already at 4 upgrades. This is because that tool pouch I got from the fleas was the second one I got from them, aka a duplicate. Which is weird because most of the items that got reset by the map glitch did not affect NPCs. I suppose this one's an exception. This does mean I have a higher percent than I should have. Oh yeah, and I need to go back for that Farfield's flea that got reset when I went back to the Architect's Crest.
I am under the water. Please help me.
Time to go back for that whiteboard tool I forgot. It appears I have been soft-locked out of getting this item due to that stupid map reset glitch, as the white key does not respawn in Jubilana's stock. This tool I'm missing is the 6 asterisk. I should be fully capable of getting the injector band tool. I literally just needed to go left here, but there is no current way for me to get inside. The back exit in Underworks doesn't work either due to both a one-way door and a one-way level transition. Thanks Team Pomegranate. So, I am actually 1% more behind than I should be. This isn't that 1% I was missing for clarification, this is just an unfortunate glitch, and I'm too deep into this run to restart. However, if you recall, I got an extra tool pouch from the Flea Caravan. For some reason, this got reset, but not any other NPC interactions. So that percent can cover this one's loss.
Why are you say this? This is a city. This is a city in danger.
Time to go to my Mind Palace. In order to bind Ava, you need to have 32 tool slots unlocked from all of your crests. This counts both the slots naturally given by the crests as well as those you unlocked from using memory lockets, meaning you only need a minimum of 12 memory lockets since obtaining all crests already gives you 20 tool slots. I say a minimum because the Hunter's Crest is completely excluded from the count, so you could at maximum waste 3 on the Hunter's Crest and need a total of 15 memory lockets. I barely had enough here since I had used 2 on the Hunter's Crest thus far. I got 2 miscellaneous percentages, the Everbloom and Binding Ava. And I grabbed the non-duplicates of 2 Mask Shards and 2 Spool Fragments as well as some memory lockets just to prove that they are all possible. This does net me an extra percent from having an additional 2 Spool Fragments, so combined with the duplicate tool pouch, I am 2% higher than I should be, but 1% higher than the theoretical. Now it is finally clear what that missing last percent is. It's a tool? Looking at my inventory, it's apparently the sawtooth circuit. But I thought I bought everything from the 12th architect. Did the game glitch or something? Or perhaps due to that map reset bug? No. The only times Silksong ever hard checks whether you have the Drifter's Cloak upgrade is the 4th course's activation and the ability to purchase Sawtooth Circuit from the architect. Seriously, I fought through platforming hell, faced impossible walls, banged my head against spikes for hours, grinded shards in the abyss for eons, all of that just to find out 100% is hard-coded to be impossible. Seriously, why, Team Watermelon? Why? You aren't even supposed to get to the architect without Drifter's Cloak in the first place. That's why there is this upstream check before Clawline. Why do you have to code a dependency for a tool that still works even without Drifter's Cloak? I guess at some point in development, you could access this trade before Drifter's Cloak normally. Perhaps this was originally a trade by the Forged Daughter, and when they moved the trade up to the 12th Architect, they just left the dependency in the code. Who knows? As the 7th asterisk was written, 99% is the limit for drifterless runs due to the Sawtooth Circuit tool being inaccessible. Quite the shame. Well, technically I did get 100%, so take that, Team Chili Pepper. It may be a dirty, scuffed, all the way messed up run, but god damn it, this victory is mine and you can't take that away from me. Oh, right, no, you literally did take this away from me. Well, I guess that concludes— wait! We're not done here. I may have all the game percentage I need, but remember that last needle upgrade was from an illegitimate pale oil. I still have to prove the Flea Caravan minigames are possible.
Alan, we are so fucked.
Not gonna lie, I was terrified this might be impossible. The Flea Juggle minigame is unchanged, so there's nothing to write home about. The flea dodge game, however, was truly evil. Particularly, whenever the large flea breaks the platform, I have to hope I can stall in the air long enough for the platforms to respawn. But with enough persistence, it was doable. Then, my greatest challenge yet, the flea bounce minigame, where you need to stay in the air for as long as possible. Oh wait, this actually isn't too bad. It does get trickier, since as the minigame progresses, there are less fleas available, and air stalling is barely not enough. But it honestly was easier than the flea dodge minigame without drifters. False alarm, I guess. With the last pale oil in possession, all that there was left to do was beat Lost Lace and save the Kingdom of Farland from the annoying-ass grandmother silkscream she does randomly. Finally, it is done. If you enjoyed this video, consider dropping a like. I spent way too long making this. Also, subscribe or something, I don't know. Stay tuned for my next video where I'll gather 50 homeless people to fight Lost Lace to compete for a grand prize of pocket lint.